Hello, Buddhas. Today we are going to talk about some of the physical mechanical aspects that are related to being an energy being. Now, before we get started, I've got to introduce all of you to Butterscotch, who is also an energy being, and he is very happy to be here. So you can like, comment, and subscribe because cats. Now, what do I mean about energy beings? Well, Abraham mentioned in a video not too long ago that we are energy beings here living this human existence. Focus. Focus on my face. Hey. Why is the lighting all off? What's wrong with the lighting all of a sudden? Is it too cloudy out? Hey Siri, cooking.
Cooking, coming up.
That better? It's a little better. That's way too bright. Hey Siri, I'm home. There we go, that's better. Abraham mentioned in a video, Abraham Hicks that is, mentioned in a video the other day about being an energy being. She asked her articular whether they believed that. And I genuinely do, because I may not be a physicist by trade, but I studied a lot of physics in school and a lot of engineering principles. And one of the things that seems to make a heck of a lot of sense to me is that all of this is created out of energy. We get physical matter because that's a density of energy that is then reproduced as the flesh and blood of humanity and everything all around us, and cats as of earlier. So that leads to thinking, are we energy beings? Well, if you objectively look at the idea of the human synapse and brain function and chemical reactions, there are neurons in your brain that fire electrical signals back and forth. Yes, no, maybe so, all over the place. Really, really, really fast. So fast that all of the computers on the planet don't even hold a freaking candle to the power of the sun. And that's kind of a bit of an analogy, I guess, that would explain how damn powerful our brain is. Now, I do not know whether our brain produces thoughts or receives thoughts from an outside ether, or maybe a combination of both. But what I do know is that energy cannot be created or destroyed. That's one of the laws of thermodynamics. We know that once a thing is a thing, it's always a thing, and all the things that are things are already things, as in they already exist in energetic form. So if we take that to heart and we add the esoteric and the spiritual aspect of this, because this is Buddha Billionaire and we don't just do things in a mechanical fashion, no, we talk about a little bit beyond. And if you think about it, if you've got a bunch of computer parts inside your brain, to think about it in a very kind of mundane way, and those computer parts work by sending energy, electricity, from one point to the other, then if you were to take a snapshot of the human brain, it would be a map, a grid in multiple dimensions, but a map grid of energy flowing from one point to another. So then the question becomes, what is the human being? What is the consciousness? What is the identity that I am Buddha Billionaire? Well, there's two options. And that is that you can consider the Buddha Billionaire to just be the culmination of cells and matter that exhibit in this body, and that's it. My name is Alex, how can I help you? Or you can look at it from an energy perspective, and the energy perspective would be the snapshot of the energy between the separate physical points within the brain. I personally believe that both of those models hold incredible merit. Because it's not about bashing on the three-dimensional world and saying, oh, we're just here as torture, this is the worst place ever. No, that's not it at all. We are in the best place ever, and we chose to be here. Don't forget that one, Buddhas. Whether you think so or not, it's true. So then, why do we have to determine which out of these two is, in fact, the case? I would argue, as I do for most things now, not that I like to argue, but I like to take the position of, if you're giving me an option between A and B, I'm gonna choose yes. Because it is inherently both. You couldn't have the human body without the electrical signals bashing around inside the head. And you couldn't have the electrical signals bashing around inside your head if there was no human body to be the vessel for that. And I think that this continues on so many different levels of scale that we can see throughout nature and examples of this. There's the entire computer revolution, right, which we are living in now. We think that we're on the cutting edge, but imagine being 200 years in the future and looking back at people having 8 gigs of RAM in their computers and people being like, what plebs. Right before this, we had the Industrial Revolution, which was ultimately the transference of power, mechanical power from one place to the other in order to do work. And that was just an increase in the ability for human beings to output matter, material. And before that, we had an agricultural revolution and different Renaissance revolutions, and all this adds up. My cat just knocked over my grapes. All of this adds up to a development of the human psyche as a whole in the realm of consciousness, and the planet itself is just more energy that's more connected and more gridded out, and more communications are happening back and forth. I'll ask this in summation. What is the internet? Is the internet the hardware on which the different files are stored and the cables on which the information is sent from you to me to get this video, for example? Is that the internet? Is the internet my computer, which uploads to YouTube, and then YouTube's hardware, which sends it to your computer so you can read it, or see it, or whatever? Is that the internet? Or is the internet the data packets themselves, the little trains of information that are being streamed to your computer screen so that you can see, hear me? Can't smell me yet, but we're working on it. Which is it? And Buddhas, I think you already know my answer. So, at the end of the day, no matter how esoteric and crazy and techie we get, Buddhas, remember the most important thing. Is to love yourself.